Welcome back to Brainhaze, where we explore fascinating stories from all walks of life. Today, we're diving into the world of esports and one player's controversial decision. Kyle, a rising star in the gaming world, found himself at the center of attention when he threw a salt shaker at a tournament organizer. But what led to such drastic action? And why does Kyle stand by his decision, despite the backlash? Join us as we unravel this intriguing story. To understand the context behind Kyle's actions at the tournament, we need to look at his journey to becoming a professional esports player. Originally from a small town, Kyle discovered a passion for gaming at a young age. He spent countless hours honing his skills and competing with other players online, slowly building up a name for himself in the community. As he grew more confident in his abilities, he started entering local tournaments, quickly making a name for himself as a fierce competitor. His success brought him to the attention of larger organizations, and he was eventually signed on with a top-tier esports team. With his star on the rise, Kyle was a force to be reckoned with in the world of gaming. Esports tournaments are known for their intense competition and high stakes. Players need to be at the top of their game to have any chance of success, which can make for a stressful and emotionally charged atmosphere. With so much riding on each match, tensions can run high, and even the slightest mistake can be the difference between victory and defeat. In this pressure cooker environment, it's not uncommon for players to get frustrated or angry. Add to this the fact that esports tournaments are often held in cramped and noisy venues, and it's easy to see how the stage can be set for conflict. It's this context that led to the incident with Kyle and the tournament organizer. The incident that led to Kyle throwing the salt shaker began when he was playing in a high-stakes match against a rival team. The match was intense, and tensions were running high. In the middle of the game, Kyle paused to make an adjustment to his equipment. When he looked up, he saw that the tournament organizer had moved his opponent's character to an advantageous position. This was a clear violation of the rules, and Kyle felt that it gave his opponent an unfair advantage. When he brought it up with the tournament organizer, they brushed him off, saying that it was just a mistake and that he should continue playing. Kyle soon fell behind in the match, and as the frustration built up, he eventually reached his breaking point. He grabbed the nearest object, a salt shaker, and threw it in the direction of the tournament organizer. It missed them but hit the wall behind them, shattering into pieces. This outburst shocked everyone in attendance, and Kyle was immediately disqualified from the competition. Despite the consequences, Kyle maintains that he doesn't regret his decision, feeling that the tournament organizer's actions were egregious and intolerable. For Kyle, the incident with the tournament organizer was not just a matter of a rule violation, it was a matter of fairness and respect. As a highly competitive player, he invests a lot of time, energy, and emotion into his matches. When he saw that the tournament organizer had given his opponent an illegal advantage, it felt like a personal attack on his hard work and dedication. In that moment, he was overcome with frustration and anger, which clouded his judgment. He admits that throwing the salt shaker was not the right way to handle the situation, but he still feels that he had to take a stand against what he saw as an injustice. For Kyle, the tournament organizer's actions had a direct impact on his ability to compete fairly in the match. He felt that he was being robbed of a level playing field, and that the tournament organizer's mistake could have cost him the game. He also felt that the tournament organizer was dismissing his concerns, which only added to his frustration. In his eyes, throwing the salt shaker was a way to vent his anger and make a statement that players deserve to be treated with respect and fairness, no matter who they are or what level they're playing at. While his actions were extreme, they highlight a larger issue within the esports community around player rights and the importance of enforcing regulations. While the incident with the salt shaker may seem like a small disagreement, it brings up a much bigger issue within the esports community: the need for fair competition and player rights. In the heat of the moment, Kyle felt that he was standing up for not just himself, but for all players who have experienced unfair treatment or rule violations. He believes that players should be able to compete in a safe and fair environment, with equal opportunities for success. His decision to throw the salt shaker was a way of highlighting this issue and of drawing attention to the need for better regulations and enforcement within the community. For those who witnessed the incident, it was a shocking and unforgettable moment. Many were taken aback by the sudden outburst of violence, and couldn't believe what they were seeing. Eyewitnesses reported feeling stunned and confused, unsure of how to react to the situation. Some tried to intervene, while others simply stood by and watched. In the chaos that ensued, security was called and Kyle was promptly escorted out of the venue. As news of the incident began to spread, reactions were mixed, with some people sympathizing with Kyle's frustration and others condemning his actions as unacceptable. Regardless of their personal opinions, everyone who saw the incident in person would agree that it was a controversial and dramatic moment. The aftermath of the incident was swift and decisive. Kyle was immediately disqualified from the tournament and barred from attending any future events. The organization behind the tournament released an official statement condemning Kyle's behavior, and the incident made headlines in the esports media. The story was picked up by major news outlets as well, sparking a conversation about the behavior of esports players and the need for better regulation in the industry. In the days and weeks that followed, Kyle received criticism and even harassment online, with some people going so far as to threaten him with physical violence. Despite this, he maintained that he didn't regret his decision, feeling that he had stood up for what he believed was right. The incident with Kyle and the salt shaker had far-reaching consequences for the esports community. It sparked a conversation about player behavior and sportsmanship, with many people calling for better regulations around player conduct. Some argued that the incident was a wake-up call for the industry, and that it highlighted the need for clearer guidelines around player behavior. Others felt that the incident was an extreme outlier and that most players conducted themselves well. Regardless of their opinions, the incident brought the issue to the forefront of the esports conversation, and it remains an important topic today. For Kyle personally, the incident has had a lasting impact on his career, and it has forced him to reflect on his actions and how he can be a better ambassador for the sport he loves. The immediate consequences for Kyle were severe. He was disqualified from the tournament and escorted from the venue by security. This was not only a humiliating experience for him, but it also put an end to his hopes of winning the tournament and claiming the prize money. Kyle's actions had not only impacted his own career but also cast a shadow on the entire esports community, which was struggling to be taken seriously as a legitimate sport. The incident was a stark reminder that esports players were expected to conduct themselves with the same level of professionalism and sportsmanship as traditional athletes. In addition to being disqualified from the tournament, Kyle faced official disciplinary action for his behavior. He was banned from attending any future events hosted by the organization behind the tournament and had to pay a significant fine for his actions. The fine was not only a financial burden but also served as a reminder that his actions had consequences beyond just that moment. Kyle admits that the disciplinary action was harsh but also acknowledges that his behavior was unacceptable. He has since taken steps to improve his conduct both on and off the field, and hopes that other players learn from his mistake. The incident with the salt shaker has had a long-term impact on Kyle's career as an esports player. While he doesn't regret his decision, he acknowledges that it has affected his reputation within the community. Some people see him as a hothead who can't control his emotions, while others have criticized him for setting a bad example for younger players. In addition to reputational damage, the incident has also limited his opportunities to compete in future tournaments. Many organizations are hesitant to work with someone who has a record of poor conduct, and Kyle's ban from attending future events has only made matters worse. Sportsmanship is an essential component of any competitive sport, and esports is no exception. While it's easy to see esports as just a game, it's important to remember that there are real people behind the screens, and that their behavior has an impact on others. Good sportsmanship means respecting your opponents, playing fair, and conducting yourself with dignity and honor. It's important not just for the integrity of the game but also for the safety and comfort of the players involved. Poor sportsmanship can lead to damage to equipment, physical altercations, or even harm to mental health. The incident with the salt shaker was a stark reminder of how important sportsmanship is in esports. One of the biggest challenges facing the esports community is the enforcement of regulations around player behavior. Unlike traditional sports, which have well-established procedures for handling disciplinary issues, esports is still relatively new and lacks a standardized rule set for player conduct. This can make it difficult for organizers to manage players, and can lead to inconsistencies or arbitrary decisions. Additionally, because esports competitions are often held online, it can be challenging to monitor player behavior and ensure that rules are being followed. While there have been efforts to establish guidelines and regulations around esports player behavior, there's still a long way to go before the community can consider itself fully mature. Despite the challenges of enforcing regulations around player behavior, there are several ways in which the esports community is working to promote sportsmanship and improve player conduct. One of the most important is through education and awareness. By making players aware of the impact that their behavior can have on others, and by providing them with tools and resources for managing their emotions, organizers can help foster a culture of respect and dignity. Additionally, some tournaments have established codes of conduct and disciplinary systems for handling rule violations, which can provide a more consistent and transparent framework for managing players. Finally, many players themselves are speaking out about the need for better sportsmanship, both within their own communities and in the industry as a whole. By working together, the esports community can create a more positive and welcoming environment for everyone involved. And there you have it, the story of Kyle and his controversial decision to throw a salt shaker at a tournament organizer. It's clear that this incident sparked a lot of discussion and debate within the esports community. On one hand, there's a need for players to maintain a level of decorum and sportsmanship at events. On the other hand, there's an argument to be made for the emotional investment that players bring to the table, along with the often high stakes involved. Whatever your stance on the matter, one thing is for certain. Kyle's decision has made waves in the industry, and it's a story that's sure to be remembered for years to come.